is derived from the leaves of the coca plant. When cocaine enters the body, it has a strong effect on body functions by acting as an it on the brain. Large overdose of cocaine causes convulsions, then death. Cocaine causes unusual and often unpredictable feelings and actions. In his ignorance, Marty took that dare, little knowing the eventual horror that lay in the deadly white powder.
Marty, have you seen the painting shears I bought last week? Can't seem to find them anywhere. Marty, you don't seem right. I'm worried about you. There's something wrong. I'm going to take you down to Dr. Beaker this afternoon for a checkup.
No, I'm all right.
As his body gradually built up a tolerance, he needed more and more of the drug.
Check one, check one. Okay, turning off the music. Bridge Sky, you're listening to K.I.S.S Recovery 101. This is my favorite monthly edition, Risky Relationships. And of course, my favorite co-host, Sarah, is here tonight. Sarah, do you want to say hi?
Yes, hello everybody, and thanks, Bridge, for having me on, of course.
I'm excited because I just kind of on a whim picked this topic because it was just a small little piece in this new book that this new old book. I had this book before and I threw it out after my last relationship. I'm like, I don't even care. But it's called Easy Does It, Dating Guide for People in Recovery. Mary Faulkner and then she has another one I've seen that's for people that are actually in a relationship. But I love it because it's tied to us in recovery. And, but yeah, just a small little piece that I pulled out of it was this sport dating. So I was like, I don't know what that is. And I looked it up and I'm like, woo, this could be a whole topic just in itself. Because that's a nice way to put what I see in the recovery world, sport dating. Like it's intentional. But I think it's very risky if you don't have good intentions or you don't even know what your intention, or that's what you don't even realize what you're doing. But I know you didn't get a chance to read the post because I didn't put it out. I haven't even shared it, Sarah. So that's what's nice. Is everybody's gonna be. This is new information. So first time listening to K.I.S S Recovery. K.I.S S is a fun acronym. Keep it simple, stupid. That's for myself. Don't let anybody take that personal. But if you're like me, I overcomplicate stuff, and then it just makes. It dumbs it down, being called stupid, calling myself stupid. Like, hey, humility. Stupid. Yeah, it brings me humility, being humble makes me humble, and I love that. Okay, so the post tonight, Sarah. Again, yes. I'm so excited that you're here. I got some pro tips too. So the post itself is, I copied and pasted, says sport dating is dating. That's the definition. Okay, I don't have the post. You want to go ahead? Do you got your phone with you? You want to go into the thing and look up the post? You can read the post, but I want to give you guys the definition of sport dating. That's how bad it is. I didn't even know what it was. It says it's a constant, uninterrupted dating of individuals with no intention of becoming involved in a second date or relationship, often used to practice for others' anticipated dates. Now that doesn't sound so bad. Sport dating is dating, with no intention. Oh, here's the post. Okay. So you want to read this little part, Sarah? This will feel like you're
Yes.
just read this little paragraph. That's my post.
This one?
Middle one. Yep.
All right. Okay, sport dating is dating with no intention of becoming involved in a relationship. Often used to practice for other anticipated dates or to fulfill your own ego. Bleh. Is it a good idea to date another person in recovery? The key questions and answers to check off before entering this kind of competition.
I said competition because sports is the point of is to compete.
Man, you picked the wrong person to have this conversation with. I hate sports.
Oh, anything can be a sport nowadays. Have you watched the Olympics? Oh my gosh, I'm like, that's a sport now. Okay, anyway. So, okay, what I found interesting is I'm kind of in that I like this idea because it's either I'm dating and it doesn't pan out very well, or I go into a serious relationship for a very long time, and then I'm broken. And I've never been in this point in my life where I've spent 2 years now focused on me, myself, and I. Literally being intentional and healing myself, learning about myself, growing, and now I love myself. I've been in a relationship with myself. I've never done that ever in my life. Nobody told me to do that. And I got married young, and, so I just never really realized how important that was. And so now that I've had this awesome time to really know myself and enjoy being by myself, with myself, dating for me just I've been on a couple dates, I'll confess, if you want to call them that. I don't like labels. I hung out with a couple people that I find interesting and spend time with. However, I noticed right away, they're like, and this hasn't been recent. I'd say it's been 3 months now. I've been kind of half-ass trying, I'll be honest. It's not that I'm lazy, but it's like I have so much energy and enthusiasm for other things, and dating's not one of them. But what I've noticed is on the other side of things, and maybe I just didn't notice it before because I was the other side, but they're quick to be like, make it something more than it is, right? But actually, when I got rejected recently by a guy, I asked him, well, could you just, be real? Like, to be honest, like, I want you to hurt my feelings. Just tell me what it is. Like, is it about 5 kids? Is it because I'm divorced? Is it because, just let me know. Because then maybe it's something that I could, like, give direction to. But he did the whole played the card, it's me, not you thing.
Yeah.
But here's what set me off. Okay, 2 things that set me off that he said. Oh, I'm going to be sharing one of your beeps. It's perfect. It's so fitting. One of the response texts back was, well, I'm not at a place right now to be dating. Usually it's just about the sex. And so I paused because that pissed me off. And I responded, who said anything about having sex? He's really full of himself to think that that he's going to be able to play me or whatever. Like, I have yes, I do enjoy that activity, but that is not, right now I want connection first, Yeah. So that was a big assumption. Then he went on to say, well, I'm really not looking for a relationship. So I paused because he's just making assumptions, and I responded, I'm not looking for who said anything about a relationship? I wouldn't even call this dating. I literally said, let's hang out. I noticed you're dating. Why don't we just hang out, see where that goes, because I've known this person for a year. I knew him for a year. I've kind of been drooling over him for a while. So but that was perfect. That's actually that rejection I needed, because it totally made me aware, like, okay, for whatever his real reasons are, I don't even care anymore. Like, it took away the attraction piece, in a sense. And I'm just at this point where, like, if you say no, that's cool. Like, before, I'd chase your ass. And now I'm like, man, I already gave too much energy in this anyway, And me asking why was just a challenge, an opportunity for me to, gain some more wisdom, really. So anyway, but I like this idea of the sport dating. So we're going to read the different, what they go into about it. But here's what's great. I found in this book, there's a healthy checklist it's only, I think, 5 things. If you can't check everything on this list, You shouldn't even be dating. Take the sport right out of it. Don't even think about dating yet.
Okay, this is driving me crazy. I have to jump in here.
Go for it.
Just as an outsider who really doesn't know anything about this subject or topic specifically, not just because I hate sports, by the way, I'll just clarify. But seriously, I think looking at dating in any kind of sport, and specifically a competition, you're setting yourself up for failure. Off the bat. Why is meeting somebody and trying to force, to me a competition is forcing something. Why are you trying to do any of that? Why can't you just go out and practice dating? Or, you know what I mean? Like, I think there should be a different terminology or metaphor for this, because the sports and the competition, it just seems and almost kind of disgusting. Like, oh, I'm just one of your fucking check off list thing. Thanks. No. What the hell?
Oh, okay. You're going to love this. Okay. Here's more. I'm going to read from some stuff. Because if you think about it, people call it playing the field, right? Okay, so listen to this. So, what is your purpose for dating? Is it to find the proverbial one? Is it to fulfill your own ego? Okay, get that rush of adrenaline when someone finds you attractive or funny. It is definitely fun. Don't get me wrong, or can be at times. Feel like you're free falling out of an airplane. It's exciting meeting someone new. But are you habitually dating because you are bored and it's just something to do to fill your downtime? So much so that it becomes your favorite pastime? A sport, so to speak. Maybe it feeds some need deep down in you as a person. Ding, ding. 9 times out of 10, I think people that are going around doing this sport dating is they're trying to fill an emptiness. Boredom is just an easy thing to go to, but really, now again, I'm speaking from I feel like a full person not these days. You know, like deep for love and connection. I have all that with myself now, so I'm not at all having that. But back in the day. Oh, 100%. It was exciting to get dressed up and meet this new person and then feel like an attraction, a thrill. But again, for me, I thought intimacy was just having sex, you know. I look back now, no, there was nothing intimate about it. There was just, so, you know, I could have consensual, I don't want to call them relationships. Like I could start seeing someone and we would hook up and I'd leave it there. I don't know. I've always been a person that those feelings never came into play for me as a female, which is weird because I've looked at the science of this.
Isn't that called friends with benefits, by the way?
We would be friends. There would be none of that. I did have one of those.
So like a one night stand or multiple times?
There's different scenarios, but I could literally
hit it and quit it.
Yes, I wouldn't get attached. But why? Because I wasn't. But here's the flip side. So, but when I would get in a relationship, I'd get really attached. Like my whole purpose was to fill their cup. And so, but looking, you know, trying to reflect on where things are now, it's like what this is saying is when someone's going around being a player, I'm so 90s, so say whatever. They're going around, they're hitting it, they're trying to get this like, especially males, trying to get like this, he's the man kind of thing. I'm the man. I got that. I had that, whatever. Really, I think everyone, especially if you're good in your recovery or good, you know, in your life, you're like, what's really going on? You know, what's really going on? Females. See, females, we typically, it's more of the guys talking these days, and I never was a kiss and tell kind of person. So for me, looking at like female conversations that I've had, it's not about that because obviously that's the sexist that it doesn't. What's the wording for that? It's a judgment on females if they're doing that, right? So
yes.
we don't talk about
100%.
it. So it's double standard. That's the word. So when females do it, so when I'm talking to my friends and we're talking about whatever, hooking up and all that, it wasn't for status or popularity. Right away, it was definitely something to do because why? For me, I couldn't stand to be alone with myself. So even if it was an addiction. It was okay. So it grew into like this sex addiction is what it was labeled. I went to some meetings, whatever. But now later in life, now I see it was more like this love addiction. Because at the moment I thought I was having these intimate connections or whatever. I totally forgot to like look at, but the next day I could give two fucks about him. You know what I mean? So that wasn't real intimacy. That wasn't real connection. But in those moments, it was like a release of, like, I'm being, free. Mind you, they didn't know really much about me. Didn't care. We didn't care to know much about each other. So what I like, let's go into this book. So sport dating for me, I think it can be a positive thing. So we're gonna look at these. I'm gonna pull this chair in. Sorry. I'm gonna look at these. Let's go into the checklist. Oh, we got comments. Sorry about that. Hi, Bridget, it's Martin. Hey, Martin. A Facebook user says, great topic. Okay, so let's really get into the root of this topic. So I found this great clip. This guy, he's like a dating coach, and some of the stuff he says, I agree with. Some of the stuff he does say that I don't agree with necessarily, because whatever. But I'm going to read this checklist, and then we're going to play this clip, and then we're going to have a lot more to talk about. So the Easy Does It dating guide. I love this. I think let's talk about each of these. You tell me if any of them stand out to you.
Okay.
For any reason. Okay. Good or bad. Number 1. So this is the checklist for a healthy dating experience. Number 1. So it leaves little spots for you to check. So, okay. So there's a blank space for you to check this. Do you check this? Okay. Number 1. You have a solid base of recovery under your belt. Now, she puts in parentheses, there's a suggested minimum of 2 years. Isn't that hilarious? 2 years? I had a problem with 1 year,
Yeah, but looking back now as a person with over 3 years, do you really think just after 1 year you were really ready?
Oh, I was too far gone. But I think it's all about where you're at in your life. No, I had never been alone. But I've seen people, especially women, I mostly work with women, they're solid, and they maybe had like a bad relationship, and this is their first go around. Okay, they didn't do drugs. Okay, so alcohol is kind of, if you have the one addiction of alcohol, it is a different type of situation. Especially nowadays, I'm seeing a lot of ladies 30 plus, 40 plus, 50 plus coming into those meetings. They didn't have the alcohol addiction until their kids left, and then they were filling a nest. They're pretty solid people as it is. Oh, see, I want to say a name. I'll tell you a name. There's one who comes in our
But these are
rooms.
already established relationships, not dating.
No, like they're established people, and they want to start dating.
Oh.
So I definitely think it's a different circumstance. I think 2 years, I think you need to sit down with someone you trust who's already doing something, I want to say sponsor, sharing partner, a coach, a mentor, a guide, and look at that together. But I don't think, don't look 2 years on this checklist. You can sit down with somebody or give yourself, like you were talking about timelines,
Yeah.
something you could start with. Because for me, a year looked like forever.
Yes.
And like you suggested the last time you were on here, was like, maybe start 3 months. And that's what I did. I was like, I'll go 90 days, do this 90 meetings. Yeah, 90 days, let's see how this goes, but making sure that I didn't have this, like, I failed if I didn't hit the year or 2 years. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, that one I would say, let's just take out the time frame. So, a solid base of recovery under your belt. Now, I would underline solid base of recovery. What does that look like? A program,
I think that's exactly what you need. First of all, solid foundation. So definitely working a program, but like you mentioned, a mentor, a sponsor, somebody outside of yourself, and not God or some imaginary person that you talk to.
Power, yeah.
No, a real person who can give you real life backfeed to say, yeah, I don't think dating would be a bad thing right now. Go ahead and try it. Or, are you really sure you're ready for this? Because I see you doing X, Y, and Z. And to me, those are bringing up red flags or, whatever it is, and point out things that maybe you don't even realize, oh crap, maybe I'm not ready.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's beautiful. So keeping it simple, just based on this one thing to check off, okay, we could break that down and be like, what would be a decent base for recovery? If you don't have a sharing partner or a sponsor or a mentor or a coach or somebody in recovery that you could have this conversation with, you're not ready.
Yes.
Don't even think about it.
Agreed.
Okay, let's keep going though. I could just keep going off with just what you just said. I could break that down into a whole bunch more things, because one of my favorite things to ask, because this is common, is to start dating right away. They haven't even gone through the steps with me already dating. So I never want to shut it down because I know for me that made me put me right on the defense, and I was like, date all over the place. I'm gonna prove you wrong. I could do it and be sober, just be fine. Just blow up in my face, do other addictions. Is I'll say, oh, okay, yeah, well, why you want to start dating, or who is this person? Just start asking them questions, because a lot of times they can't answer the question, and I see their little eyes. I just see this like thought come in their head. Yeah, like, oh shit, I don't even know why I'm like this person, or I don't even know why I started trying to date, or whatever. It gets that going. They'll give me an answer, but I know it's planted something. Okay, number 2. So during this time, you have number 2. So again, if you're just listening in, checklist for a healthy dating experience. Oh, and please feel free. Comments, questions. Sport dating, have you heard of it? What's your initial thoughts? What do you think about it? I think Sarah and I, this is great. I'm actually, the more I've talked or thinking about it or read about it, I like the idea of sport dating. If you're where I'm at right now, I would say I'm in a good spot. I have plenty of people that I could go to, support, and get outside opinions, and I'll take them. You're on the flip side around. No, it sounds pretty freaking negative. We're competing and playing the field, and what is that about? So this is great. We can go back and forth, but I want to, if anyone listening, give your 2 cents, please do. Number 2. You have, this is for checklist for healthy dating experience, remained free from your addiction. Now, interestingly enough, she wants to give you a timeline of 2 years for a base, but there's no timeline on this.
So, is this person in smart recovery where you don't have to actually be sober to have recovery time? I'm confused.
Right. Well, I know that this book, she is very much about the 12 steps. So it says, have you remained free of your addiction? So if you're...
That's stupid.
Well, listen, because here's the thing. Yeah, right. Anybody with our brains could flip it and be like, well, I'm smoking weed.
No.
That's not my alcohol.
But
doesn't the first question answer the second question?
Oh, here's the thing. I think number 1 is the main question, and these are breaking it down. If you look at it. Yeah, I just realized that now. So that's why it's broken down. It said, so during this time, this is a way to test if you've had a solid base of recovery under your belt.
So this is their way to find out for the solid base.
I just figured that out too. Okay. So to gauge if you've had this solid base of recovery, have you remained free from your addiction? Okay. Have you worked the steps?
Yes.
Or your program. So it doesn't have to be the 12 steps, whatever program it is. And let's be real. Have you worked it where somebody else outside of you could say, yes, you worked through that program at least once? Because if you're like, oh, I took away all of that I could, I did my, whatever, but didn't really finish it, let's be real. Okay. Okay. And then the next question is, been meeting regularly with a sponsor or sharing partner.
There you go.
Or have secured a dating sponsor. That's the new one. Ooh. So, I think I mentioned this like way back, to just get a specific dating coach or AKA sponsor. Someone with whom you can discuss your thoughts, feelings, and experiences regarding dating. And the last one is attended a home group regularly. A score of 5 means you get to advance to starting the next block. 4 means proceed slowly and at your own risk. 3 checks means you're headed for trouble. And 2, 1, or 0 means keep coming back.
Okay.
So now I've read some articles on this. Let's play this clip. So here's one thing to think about too. I like this. So they talk about red flags a lot, right? Mm-hmm. I like how you reworded it. Flags.
Yep. And
also, just if you're in your gut, you're feeling off about it, you can consider that a flag too. Okay, so this guy, I like his tip. It says, and I'll share the link for this. This is short. That's why I couldn't download it or whatever. But it's, if a man or woman does this, it's a huge red flag. Okay, so get ready for this. This is pretty great. It's very short. Oh, unmuted.
To take accountability without reflection. All right? What do I mean by that? One, if the individual is not taking accountability for his actions early on, that's a problem regardless. It's not just taking accountability with you. Does he take accountability in his life in general? If he doesn't, that's a problem. But it's not just not taking accountability, which is bad enough. But sometimes people will verbally take accountability, but they'll do so with deflection. It's like, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have done this, but this person did this. An unwillingness to take accountability.
Okay. I love this because that's a great way to tell where someone's really at in their recovery. Because they might have been in recovery or doing this program their own way for however many years. That don't mean that they actually did the steps and actually know, or not steps, but whatever program, that actually live in a life of recovery. I find so many people that, yeah, he brings up a good point. Don't look at how they answer if they're accountable to you, or if they're, being upfront and taking that with whatever you put on them. Look at how they treat the people in their life. Ding, ding, ding. That's easy to tell. Yes. Now looking back, because I've been with somebody and, and I was in that same space too. Okay. I didn't have much anytime either at that time. But he, his reasonings for where he was at and why he didn't have anybody or whatever was all everybody's fault. And that was me too. Like, I talked about my parts, definitely knew where I was at. But I definitely had a lot of I wasn't taking, I could definitely say that I was putting the accountability on family members and friends, right? Mm-hmm. But as I started really growing in my program, for me it is the steps, and really self-reflecting, I was able to really, I couldn't even see, I was so far gone that I couldn't even see this wall I had up within my own brain in denial. So once I started to realize that, I started speaking up. I started talking about it, and I started realizing my part in it. He never changed his stories. It was always still, and what I noticed is, as we progressed in our relationship, new things would pop up with his family specifically. It was still always their fault. And I realized, I was like, but think about it. Look at it from your mom's perspective, this is what's happened. I do not see her point of view. I was trying to, in a nice way, I was still trying to be on his side, but also give her the benefit of the doubt. How many times have you been in treatment? How many times have you lied? How many times have you done this? Give her some grace. And he couldn't do it. And I realized that was a huge block.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I feel like, honestly, this is just something that comes in general. As a person in recovery, if you are working a program and you do have a solid base, you have reached that point. Anybody who knows about working the 12 steps knows that what step is that, Bridge? Help me out here. That you take your own faults. 4 or 5?
You take your own faults? Your inventory?
Your inventory, but in your inventory, you take your own shit.
Oh, yep, your side of the street. So that's 4 and 5.
Okay.
So by the time you're done with this program, and if you have thoroughly gone through it and did your part, you should be able to yourself have the ability to take responsibility without deflecting. And anybody who's not at that same level is clearly not even ready. And it's nothing, I don't think, against them in a bad way. I think it's just it's a clear sign that they have a lot more to go yet. And that's where you can be like, okay, you know what? This person's great, but I'm going to wait a little bit. They need to go a little bit further. And I wouldn't even cut them off if they can't. They don't have capacity to understand it yet. They haven't been there. They haven't reached that point.
Oh, absolutely. And it took me I would say, that's why I do the year timeline, but everyone's their own.
But it comes from.
But it took a solid year of getting my mind to be clear. And even still now, 3 years, things pop up that I had forgotten about, or I didn't, just somebody's story or somebody shared something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember this moment of whatever,
Comments?
So yes, we have some comments. Okay, let's see. Hey, Bridge Bay Sky, I love you. I bet that's Fahada. He's the only one who says her full name. And if you are joining us from Facebook, unless you check that, if you have to check the box, otherwise I can't see who you are. But that's why I do the private Facebook, because I want people to be able to be anonymous if they want to. If you're on YouTube, though, that's public, so just know. Let's see. We got Facebook user, I love it. Addict Junction. Ooh, I like the name Addict Junction. Says, hey, y'all. First time watching. Thank you. I'm glad you're joining us. Oh, stick around for the memes. Again, this is only an hour. We're sticking to that. By the way, I made sure I only have 8 memes Not 14. Yes. And then another Facebook user, hey, it's Amy. Oh, hey, Amy.
hi,
What up? I'm glad you're joining us live. Okay, so that's the point, y'all. Why don't you share, if anybody has any experience with quote unquote sport dating, feel free to bring that up. So here's why, I'm going to tell you why I like the idea of it. For me, because I'm solid in my recovery, 100%. Like, I have my recovery family, I have my home group. I have 2 sponsors, sharing partners. I have mentors. I have a lot of people, and I make a point to only surround myself with people that either want recovery, are in recovery, or have my inner circle people have my similar mindset, right? So one red flag or one easy way for me to tell if someone's even at a place that they can sport date along with me is I will ask them, so what do you do for fun? What brings you joy? What do you do? If they don't have something right away to come up with, or they just say, oh, well, I like to watch movies, or, oh, they don't, even just the way they say it, if they don't have something that they're passionate about or have a joy for, that's where I know that they want me to come in and fill that need. Boom, red flag. Okay? Because if you don't have something that you enjoy, it doesn't have to be sports. It could be, any hobby or a person, like maybe it's your grandma or who knows, just something that outside of yourself brings you happiness. That's a red flag that you're seeking someone to date to fill that happiness, whether it's temporary or later in life. So that one is one that I would go with. But I like the idea of, for me, no, I have no desire at all to start any kind of relationship, if you want to label it that. I would like to start dating, but I also don't want to, I like the idea of sport dating because I would like to have coffee and smoothies or whatever, hang out with someone and start to get to know them. But, if I happen to meet Ben, aka Macklemore, next week, and I like him too, and he was single, I want to be able to have coffee and smoothie with him too without first coffee smoothie person get pissed off. I've literally had a guy listen to this podcast, and we've hung out a couple times. Again, I make a point to say I don't use any labels, and I will ask. I'll be like, "Oh, are you seeing anyone else?" But in their mind, because I asked that, I don't even ask that question anymore because in their mind, they're like, "Oh, she wants to see if I'm, going to be dating anyone else. I better not date anyone else." Oh, are you dating anyone else? And then it's like cuts you off, like because you're dating or you go on a date with someone, now you can't date anybody else. Shenanigans.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here now that
Please
you just
do.
said this.
Yes.
I think that's part of my issue with this specific topic and the label. You and I both are anti-label people. Mm-hmm. The fact that everybody needs to label some shit in this world today is absolutely ridiculous. To the point that when I think of sport dating, the whole concept of the competition, it doesn't even make me think of like a thing of what you're going into as a new person. It sounds like, I had a guy tell me one time, I don't understand these guys at work that come in and they're shit talking their wives about what they did or didn't do, and then they're talking about sexually, whatever with the girlfriends and this, that. And I thought, wow, that's actually very... I knew guys did it, but I didn't know there was guys that didn't. And for me, that was a whole new eye-opening experience. Like, there are guys that, genuinely want to be with a partner and don't disrespect them behind their back by talking about their behaviors and or sexual life with other people like it's a competition. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, I think if you are that person that's going to talk about it to other people, I think that's a big character defect that you got to work on in your program, and clearly you're not on a freaking solid base. Mm-hmm. Just saying it. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, where were we at? Because there was something else I wanted to add, but now I'm like having a brain fart. Oh, because I was talking about how I like the idea of sport dating because I don't like label, because I went and had smoothies with you. Now I'm only stuck to only having smoothies with you. If I happen to run into Ben, aka Macklemore, and we click it off, I want to be able to have smoothies with him too. Okay, no. Okay, so this is where I think, again, why do we need this new label, this new perspective? Let's go back a little farther in time. What did they call it when you dated? You went out on a date with somebody and you courted them. If you liked...
I like that. Again, with the sport reference.
But the point is, you did not make any commitments, and you were free to go date other people. You know what I mean? Like, people think when they hear the word, oh, are you dating somebody? It doesn't mean you're boyfriend and girlfriend. It doesn't, it means you literally are trying to get to know somebody for a potential relationship. It doesn't mean you're obligated or committed to any person. And I think that gets forgotten and lost in translation, especially when when people make easy does it dating guides and make everything into a competition. Sorry, I'm feisty today, so.
I love it. I love it. And we're going to get into the pro tips pretty quickly here because look at that. It's already almost 8:40. So let's read further into this because I feel like this is a great way to just at least have I would recommend getting this book. Actually, the more I read it, I'm like, I could read this in 2 days. It's really great. So the Easy Does It Dating Guide for people in recovery. Well, Sarah, I think your take on things is also great because now you have been in your relationship for 6 or 7 years now, right? So it's wonderful to have your perspective where, I've been single now for a while. I have been trying to date, but it's almost like I'm in this space of, well, I shared it on the Rise Up Hour. Like, I feel so happy, joyous, and free right now, and I'm having like just amazing opportunities and things opening up. I'm finding myself seeking, more challenges and just upping my level of life. And I find that it'd be nice to have a partner, a companion, also like already at my level, mind you, but also has the same goals and mindsets because we can encourage each other and it could be fun with each other. Right. Even though I have friends, and they will be supportive, encouraging, they're not my like partner. They're not my companion. They don't want to hear about my shit all the time. They don't have the same like passion. So it'd be nice to find a companion partner that literally has that passion.
Okay, I got a question for you. Are you okay if we get a little personal here?
Of course.
Okay.
Always open book.
All right. Okay, so sorry, I'm trying to figure out how I want to word this.
Oh, geez. That makes me nervous.
All right, so you just talked about how you want to start dating. And how it's obviously a little awkward and you're trying to find the right way to do it. That's why you're interested in reading this book, because you think that you need to find a specific way to do it because you're in this program of recovery and you have set certain standards that these are the people and things that you want, which is all good. But other than the fact that that book might be a great read to just give you some ideas or suggestions, what would you say if you found out that a guy that you met and went on a date with was reading a book on how to date? What would your instant judgments be? Honestly.
Nothing. I'd be like, oh, cool. We already got something in common. Seriously, like, I'm so open. Okay, so I'm so open to meeting somebody and, really, because everybody's individual, right? Everybody has whatever the reasonings and getting to the root of it. I especially want someone that challenges me and I can learn and grow from. Especially if they're doing what I'm doing, which is trying to get... So for me... I would say right now it's not awkward. I mean, like, I feel like I do make people awkward because I'm a little, what's the word you always say I am?
Intimidating.
But that's just because I don't feel so confident nowadays.
That's good.
And I'm good with my awkwardness, But when I notice that I consistently make other people feel uncomfortable because I'm so out there, that's okay though. But here's the thing. I'm trying to determine, okay, but here's the problem I've been having. So I do feel like I get an attraction. I do feel like I'm with someone. I don't say date, like we go to hang out, right? But it's like immediately in their mind, we're dating, okay?
Okay, but what does dating mean when you say it like that?
Okay, so what's been reciprocated to me is because I went on 2 times, hung out with him.
You're explicit.
We're explicit, yep. And he literally, after a podcast, because I mentioned I was in a class and I found this person attractive, and I was more joking because he lives way out in Bemidji anyway. But I was like, he would be someone I would like to have a coffee or a smoothie with or whatever. That night, he canceled our Valentine's Day hangout plans because of what I said in the podcast. And I'm like, why? Like, I would think you would be flattered that we're going to hang out on Valentine's Day. But again, I wouldn't say date or anything like that. We were going to go see a movie or a documentary thing, something kind of nerdy. But anyway, it kind of hurt my feelings. Like, well, obviously, he, instead of having like a conversation about it, he was just like, done, canceled, and boom, he had a girlfriend in a month, which was really, really weird. But
Sorry.
I've noticed 2 of the other guys that I've spent some time with. And yes, I am busy, so I do feel bad that I can't just hang out on a regular basis multiple times in a week.
You shouldn't have to.
But they're like, it's validating almost in a sense because they're dating now. The both of the relationships. They're jumping into relationships, and I'm like, why couldn't they just maybe that? Okay, this is having an aha moment right out the gate. I should make a point to say, I'm not exclusive. I'm not trying to do relationships or dating only. You do what you gotta do. I'm not even gonna ask questions about you. But I'm not seeking a relationship because I think they all jumped into relationships really quickly. And I'm like, I kind of feel bad for who they're in relationships with because obviously, well, I don't know. For me, it feels like if we had a connection, maybe it was, for me, if I feel a connection, like it's worth energy and time into. But I'm not in any place to be like, oh, I like you so much. This person didn't like me that much. So let's do a relationship. Like, I'm making a point to really explore my experience with dating, and yes, no labels, and I'm definitely not bringing sex into it because yes, I get a little that's a whole other animal. Yep. Let's just put it that way. So
dating.
Why did you ask me that? What, I know you had an underline you were going for.
Okay, so yeah, I did ask you. Okay, yeah, backtrack to the book thing and them reading a book on dating. I'm curious because if I go on a date with somebody and I'm just open and it's just a very casual thing and they tell me, yeah, I've been kind of, reading about this, following this book, getting some tips or whatever, it would instantly give me the impression that they're very insecure or I don't know. There's something about it specifically. Like I find it very attractive when somebody can dive into a random subject and, like investigate and have all this knowledge and things like that. Like, that's fun. Okay. Maybe you're reading this book because you are like me. We just love to learn shit constantly. But honestly, yes, if somebody were like, no, I'm reading, it would come off as very insecure to me. And then also like, okay, is the person that I want in my life.
Right.
Like, and what about them? I don't know. It would make me question, like, okay, why can't they just be themselves with somebody? Why do they need a book to guide them? So it's just, it would send flags to me.
Yes. Well, yes. And I see, but I'm the intimidating one, and I will straight up ask them, oh, why'd you get that book? What is it about that, whatever that you're questioning or whatever? I'll just ask questions, But again, that scares a lot of people off because they just want to know. Like for me, I'll tell you right now, I haven't read it yet, but I got it mostly for the show. Too, because there's a lot of questions that I'm not able to answer. When someone's like, how could you just, not want to like make it exclusive or not want to like, how do you not, okay, because someone said, no, I have to have text message or I have to have those phone conversation, text messages before I'll even go meet them. Because I said, initially, it takes a couple messages back and forth, but I'm like, hey, I like you. Let's just meet for coffee. Like, I don't like to play around and do this stupid. For me, I don't like the phone texting or emailing back and forth over so long. And then for me, it builds this fantasy in your head of what this person is like. I can feel chemistry with someone right away and know in 5 minutes if I want to hang out with them again. I don't like to waste all my time on the phone thing. Like, for safety reasons, I will.
Okay, so I think our next podcast definitely, I'm going to throw this out there. Do I get to pick the next one? Mm-hmm. Okay, I already have the idea. We're going to do dating tips from the way back when. Like before, like I was talking about courtship and things like that. Ooh. I want to talk about those types of interactions that people used to have in their, I can't think of the right word right now, but in that era, how it worked, what was, compared to today's, because I think that's a big problem is, first of all, the confusion about the word dating that I already mentioned. One, it doesn't mean you're
in a relationship.
Yep, you're not in a relationship. It's not explicit. You're not committed. No. The fact that you even have to mention it is, I think, what makes dating difficult. I am not a person who dates anymore, but I do remember I am somebody that can be a little intimidating sometimes too.
Yes.
But it not in
Takes one to know one.
Yes. But I think it's because I'm a very blunt person. And I know I rub people the wrong way because I just blurt shit out. For example, when Dan and I started dating, we were not explicit. We were hanging out. And then there was a moment where it got asked to be a date.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? Like kind of like the slower things that there was no expectation on either end, and it's just kind of warmed into those things. But when we did finally establish the concept that we are going to actually officially be in a relationship and explicit with each other, I remember throwing out a text message, and he still teases me to this day because I'm like, "You're not one of those clingy people, are you?" Like, I can't. I'm like, I'm gonna run for the hills. You got to give me my space.
Yes.
But
But that's good. You
Yes.
put that right out there, and he knew what he was walking into. Right?
Yes.
Or
But
and
we
it's
took-
vice versa.
we took the time, and we knew. It's just, I want to be able to do a whole nother subject on this concept of dating on another podcast when we have more time. So
Yes.
I will let you wrap up all.
We only got 10 minutes.
Yep, I'll let you wrap up all you got to say on this book, but that's my opinion, and I'm looking forward to the memes.
Yes. And I agree. I feel like everybody's in such a hurry. And then what happens is you're in such a hurry, you get your relationship, and then nobody has, because you didn't even take that time and to get to know each other and build this like connection and all that stuff initially, then guess what? They're so quick to break up too and move on. It's like nobody's taking that time, because anything worth doing is what? Worth doing well.
Yeah.
So like, because I put all this work into myself, I feel like I won't say when, but if a relationship presents itself where it comes to that point and we're both on that page, by then I will have spent so much time, all that time already, that it's not something quick to walk away from. I mean, there's key things, but
But see, that's where people get tripped up and get stuck in bad relationships because they did put energy into something and then feel obligated. We had this conversation in another podcast.
yes.
So that's also a tricky, slippery slope.
Right. Well, and yes, I mean, that's definitely its own little thing. So I had to learn the hard way about that but that was in my nature then. Here's the best part is where I'm at now is, you remember somebody, he was a pretty rad person, and it was pretty silly. It was all of 30 days that we hung out. But I remember I told him up front, I'm going to be upfront with you, and if something just doesn't sit right with me, I'm going to have a conversation with you about it, because I was like, I don't want to be the runaway person. I don't want to be I really want to figure things out, and meet you where you're at. You meet me where I'm at. And it just went to such a weird place. And I almost feel bad because I could not tell that I thought he was where I was at. He seemed confident. He seemed all about service. He had more time than me. He had more service stuff than me. And he was very open. And well, now I realize he was only gossipy and open and book about everything if it served a purpose. Okay. So, but he wasn't open and honest with me. But apparently he was open and honest with his buddies. So I had no idea his other side. Yes, competition, right? Yeah, I'm sure all kinds of weird things was going on. But I literally said to him, because he was like, I'm done. And I'm like, why? What does you're done mean anyway, first of all? Like, you're done hanging out? I don't get it, I was like, you don't even want to be, like, friends? Like, whatever, because whatever. And he was like, well, I feel like a lot of things that you say I take too seriously, and I can't even, it's too hard for me. It's too much pressure. I'm like, but what did I say before? If there's anything I say or that, bothers you or whatever, I want to have a conversation about it, But he wasn't. He was going to bitch it to his friends. And geez, this, that, and not actually asking what I meant by something. Because I think it weirded him out. Because I'd be like, okay, but when you said this specific thing, here's how I interpreted it,
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason. I'm trying to understand, mostly it was a lot of instincts. Let me tell you, they came true. But whatever. That doesn't mean everyone's going to be like that. But I was so open, almost too open. because then he would have told lies about me. But he was not reciprocating that back. So the only way for me to really want to even initiate later on the line in a relationship is to see how they're going to do it. We're just hanging out. And then if they want to go into a dating, beyond sport dating, gauge that out. But I am in no rush, again, because if I'm going to be in a relationship, well, I guess my whole point I was going to say back when I was forgetting what I was going to say was, when I'm ready, when I go into a relationship, for me, that's a commitment, you know, and I'm going to go in it all the way in, which means but not to the capacity where it's unsafe or unhealthy for me. Okay. Yeah. That's where I've learned from before. And you pointed out over time that those got shorter and shorter and shorter. But now at the end of the day, I realize there are those hard line boundaries that if they're crossed, then I'm done. I don't care how much time we've put in this, because at the end of the day, until you live together, you don't really know a person.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that, you have a friend, that until you like move in, really start living with them, that's when you can really figure out if it's going to work or not. But no rush. Okay, so let me just read this quick, and then we're going to do the memes, and then comments. So it says, suggested prerequisites for easy does it dating. Okay, chances are you've experimented with sport dating. Early recovery is often filled with casual encounters that happen with little or no awareness on anyone's part, no real choices being made, and no commitment. These spur-of-the-moment affairs are a balm for early sobriety, taking the edge off the discomfort. They can also take the edge off recovery and are a primary cause for relapse. Yes. It could take a year or longer and a few false starts before you make a full commitment to recovery. That's not wasted time. You're discovering important things about yourself. However, if you're still struggling with that early stage of recovery, you aren't ready to begin the dating process being presented in this book. So be good to yourself. Read the book and save it for later. The more time you spend focusing on yourself and learning how to live happy, joyous, and free, clean and sober, the better your chances of keeping those qualities when you get into a relationship, okay? 12-step recovery is a lifelong course of action filled with self-discovery, leading to greater appreciation of your spiritual life. The likelihood of staying sober increases each year, rising sharply after 5 years, making that the ideal time frame for developing committed relationships. It's unlikely, however, that you'll wait that long before you start dating. So in the first few years, yes, that's years, not months, you've gotten a sneak peek into the package that is you. Unpacking it is a long-term deal. Recovery is a process, life is a process, and ideally, dating is a process too. And the couples that I see making it work, you know, they unpack those things together. Like, yes, they will have those hard conversations together. No matter, like, that's where I'm at right now. Even if I feel it in my gut, uncomfortable, this might hurt his feelings or her feelings. And I'm not just saying dating, like relationships, friendships, all that. I know that I need to say something, because if I don't, it gets buried and it builds into a resentment, or it builds into the pain or whatever. So no matter what, I push myself to say it. And a lot of times I'll just keep it real simple. Just get it going, you know? So it's not too uncomfortable, but it'll be way more uncomfortable later.
Yes. And I'm just going to add a little thing in here that I just
please do
kind of popped into my head here while you were reading that. I think people are so hyper focused on timelines, and like, especially in our our lifetime right now, everybody expects things instantaneously, like that right now. And so having to wait even a month seems like forever for people. But at the end of the day, if somebody's really genuinely committed to having the best relationship that they can have, and they really want a partner and have the best partner relationship they can have, they do need to realize and have like an awakening that, okay, until I can figure out me, I'm not going to be able to be there for anybody else. And let's get real. How many relationships have you been jumped into and you're like, I gotta do this because I'm gonna miss out. This is the one. This person's my whole life. 6 years later, that guy was a fucking idiot. Okay, that's my point. Is you could give yourself 2 years, because you know why? You're stuck with yourself for the rest of your life. So if you live till 98 years old, what are 2 years of those?
Right.
Like, seriously, take the time for yourself, because you're always going to be stuck with yourself. Always, always, always.
100%. Okay. That was beautiful. That was a great way to segue into the pro tips.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot to do the kissing sound effect. Okay, it's fire time because I want to do the pro tips. And I wonder if I still have that sound effect. Okay, here we go. Pro tip number 1. Get this book. That's the go-to. That's easy. Easy Does It Dating Guide. And I also, Mary Faulkner, I love it because she basically, oh, I got the loops on. What she says is, basically if you start reading through it and you're like, oh, shoot, I am not ready. She says, it's okay. Go ahead and read it, but save it for later. Just save it, but it's okay. Put that down. You could come back to it later, right? And let me tell you, once I really got off and I'm going on just having a relationship with myself, that 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, it's gone by so fast that, yeah, now I'm like kind of almost nudging myself into trying to just, I don't like this word. Okay, I don't like the word sport. Okay. And dating, for me, my perception of dating is to literally go on dates or hangouts, which you can't call it hangouting. But unfortunately, I just asked a guy, I didn't tell you this, so I just was like, hey, you want to go? Well, he seemed, I forgot what. Oh, he just celebrated 3 years, I think. Or maybe 2 years. So I was like, hey, and he's been good. He's shown up as a really cool, good person. And so I was like, hey, do you want to go grab sushi sometime, Okay, very casually. And mostly I just wanted to check in with him because I haven't had sit-down time with him. Right before, I think the night before, we were going to, just go to my favorite place. I ended up bringing my daughter instead. But he was like, so what does this mean? And I'm like, what does what mean? He's like, well, is it going to be just you and me? Or I'm like, oh, don't make it weird. Too late. Now you made it weird. Yes, I was thinking it was just going to be you and I, but we can invite friends. And I'm like, no, I'm not trying to invite a bunch of people. I was just trying to have some sushi, check in on him, see how he's doing. Not trying to date, necessarily. Just wanted to hang out and gauge where he's at because I like him.
But in his defense, and I don't know who this person is, by the way, I'm a little offended.
Well, that's how unimportant.
Okay,
that was.
But in his defense, maybe he's worried, like you are, that you're looking for a relationship, and he's thinking, oh man, I can't. I'm not ready. That's not where I want to be. So he's literally laying it out. What is this? Is it just us? Is it a date? Is it a hangout? What? He might have been just trying to get an idea.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I did. I did say, well, yeah, I was just thinking it'd be you and I just wanted to in and just have a friendship conversation.
Yes.
I forgot. There was something else, though. I do base it on a step-by-step thing. But for me, no. Because here, if I reverse it in my head, that same person or someone that I kind of, just friend, acquaintance, whatever. It's like, hey, you want to go grab a bite to eat? Absolutely, I would. I've done that. Unfortunately, and that flipped it. The guy was in a suit with probably flowers. I was like, oh, shit. I was wearing jeans. I'm like, I thought you just wanted to go hang out. I didn't know that he's taking it so serious, okay? So, yeah, I get it. That's good to... But see, I've known him for 3 years, so I thought that... I guess you're right, though. I made an assumption that he also took it that way. But there was more things he kept asking that just got... Then he was like, is this a date? And I was just like, no. I didn't want it, but then I was like, now I don't even want to do it anymore because now for me, it's weird. I feel like because I've known him for 3 years. So, yeah, see, I got to sit down with myself, too. I'd give more time. Plus, we have too many mutual friends, so I just didn't want to go there. If he was already overthinking it, I'm like, oh, it's already overthought. Okay, ready? Yep. So that's pro tip number 1, read the book. Pro tip number 2, that was right out of the book, was get a not a sponsor, but coach, a guide, but somebody that specifically is for your dating activities.
Yep.
I do recommend a sponsor. If you got a good one, they're just going to listen. Like my sponsor, Marcy's awesome. She listened to my escapades and just asked me certain questions. And I didn't feel judged, but I definitely was, my head got spinning why do I? I gave her an answer, but I'm like, was that really the real answer? I don't think so. And then off the whim, do you have a pro tip number 3, Sarah?
Yeah, my pro tip number 3 is disregard this book and all things called sport dating. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, I do like the way she words some of her stuff in here, especially the timelines. And again, I can't express it enough how many people want the instant everything right here, right now. And it rolls into the same one I had before, but give yourself time. And not, whether it's when you are dating, like, make it clear to somebody, hey, you know what? I'm exploring my options right now. I would like to go on a date to see, whatever. Make it very clear, but also, clarify, hey, this doesn't mean it's going to be, we're in a relationship, it's explicit, we're just kind of playing the field. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I had to throw
recording.
Yes, I had to throw one of those in there. All right. But yes, and at the end of the day, if things are just not, if things just seem like they're not clicking, it's too much work, just take an extra break. Spend more time on yourself. Even if you've been with yourself for 2 years and you're like, oh man, I'm missing out on life because whatever, I've already wasted 2 years with myself. That's not wasted. That is the most valuable time. And you can never have enough of it.
Yes. And see, now I've hung out with a couple people that didn't jump into relationships, that didn't, post things that they're doing this dating, whatever thing. But they also busy, with work and life and the service and all that. And so it's like we've hung out here and there, but there's like no expectations. So like not in the back of my mind, I'm like, ooh, blah, blah, blah. I'm hoping that down the line. No, I'm like, if it's meant, when the time's right, like who knows? But it's nice to know. But it's also on the other side. It's nice to know who. No, they obviously, it wasn't quality over quantity. Yeah, okay. Beautiful. Let's get into my favorite part. Ooh, we're going to zip through these, okay?
Yep. What do we got for comments?
Done.
Okay.
All right. Stream time. I love that music. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of you're going to see. So if this is your first time listening, guess what? You're going to be able to look at these. Go ahead and pull it up. I'm going to pull up the memes. You get to see them. So back in the day, I used to just describe them, and I realized listening later, it didn't make sense. They weren't funny. So live Facebook memes there, you get to look at these memes that I've selected throughout the week for whatever reason stuck out to me, and you're going to tell me what you think about them live here. So go ahead. Meme number 1. Describe the picture.
All right, review or side mirror of a car. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. And I love this. So it's in the mirror is snow, and outside of the mirror is just open green grass.
Yes.
And it is true. I mean, it snows right around the corner. So, and I think this you could really go into, but it's kind of cute.
It is. It's like in a matter of a day or two, it's like summer gone. Here comes fall, which I love fall.
Yes.
I hope fall sticks around for a while.
Me too.
Meme number 2. This is yours.
Oh my God, yes, I sent you this freaking bear doing like these jumping aerobic little leaps. He's
on stage.
Yes. And it just says, this is me jumping to conclusions.
Yes. I like conclusions better than assumptions. Yes. That speaks for itself. Just words.
Okay, we repeat what we don't repair. Very accurate. Way to sum that up in a very short little sentence.
100. And I feel like that, especially if you're trying to date, and I find that this keeps repeating. So now I do have these guidelines. So for me to take the time to actually go meet with someone who I've never really met in person. It's different if I've already had interactions with this person. I'm going to gauge what their intention is, right? I'm going to make sure that I'm going to have, there's flags that'll go off really quick. If they think it's going to be a hookup, if they think it's going to be I always I do Dutch. I have certain guidelines before I will go just meet someone. Whatever, but there's so many flags that I've done that before. Got the babysitter, got dressed up, got there, it was going really well, and all of a sudden I realized he invited me back to his place. I'm like, oh, hell no. Okay, now you just ruined everything.
Yep.
So, okay.
Yes.
But now asking those questions of myself beforehand and just making sure to present myself or whatever, just me. And even though it's not been going very well, that's okay. I'm still being authentically me. And eventually, one day, maybe that right person that we do click, we are very similar, and we just get it, that's going to work out.
Well, and you know what? It'll be a lot more natural, too.
And fun.
Yes.
And they'll get my sense of humor.
Yes. Okay, next one. I can't believe I'm going to miss Burning Man again for the every year in a row.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yes.
And it's not true though. So I mean, like, I mean, it is, but it is like for me, I wouldn't choose to go there anymore, you know, like at all. But for other things like the state fair. So for sure, the first year I was like not cool with being there. The second year I went to be at the table for our table, and then I would have went this year, but this year I don't. Just to have we were gonna have a little group of recovery folks, our team, Rise Up team.
Yeah.
Right. So over time, you know, this definitely can happen. Yeah. But I do like how I was like, I can't believe I'm going to miss the Burning Man again now for every year in a row.
You know what's really cute? I was talking to a guy at a meeting the other week, and he was talking about in Sturgis. Everybody knows that as a big drinking rally. Mm-hmm. Apparently, they have a 24/7 AA meeting somewhere that people can go attend to. Like every hour on the hour, they have meetings going all around the clock.
That's fantastic.
Isn't that cool?
Yes, and I like the places now that we go. No, they weren't at that place that we went to, but they have the NA drinks, non-alcoholic, whatever.
yeah.
You know, it was so funny. Ange took a picture of us, and she's like, "Oh my God, people are gonna see the drink in your hand." I'm like, "Hey, it's just Red Bull and ice. It's so good." I want if somebody asks me, "Oh, you had a drink in your hand," I'm gonna be excited to be like, "Yep, it's Red Bull and ice." You can go out and have fun.
Yes. All right. So, dude looking like, what the hell? All right. Next time a stranger talks to you when you're alone, just look at them shocked and whisper, "You can see me?" I would love to do this to
Let's
someone.
just try it once. We should. I challenge you in the next week or two. We do this.
I will.
Okay, I will too.
I would totally do it.
See what happens.
Okay, Kermit, my favorite. Somebody with your ex right now realizing why you left. Ain't that the fucking truth?
Every single time. Oh my goodness. Okay. Just words.
Okay. Until you get comfortable with being alone, you'll never know if you're choosing someone out of love or loneliness. Boom. Way to wrap up our topic from tonight.
That's from Mandy Hale. And that is true. So that's where I know I'm thriving. Is I do enjoy my alone time, and I have all kinds of things to do. I never get enough time. And sometimes I do nothing. It's so funny. I'm like, I'm going to do all these things, and I'm going to do the thing for this and that. And then literally, like, I'll just sit on the couch and start eating and watching TV. And I'm like, this is good enough.
There you go.
Best final.
Last one. All right. Get into the habit of asking yourself, does this support the life I'm trying to create?
Boom.
Yes. And I think that gets overlooked a lot. But those are those boundaries that we've talked about too in the past, that when you know what your core values are, you're able to kind of gauge what's going well, what's not going well.
Especially new in recovery. Okay, if you're walking away from an interaction or a place and you're not feeling raised up or better, it's usually you doing that for somebody else. It's a good time to sit down and ask yourself this question, because here's what I love. It says, does this, go ahead and add in person, place, thing into that question. Does this person, place, or thing support the life I'm trying to create? So, like for you and I, we went to that comedy thing. It was great. Now, it did definitely. So it was all around positive energy. Now, but I've gone to different activities. Some of them were actually centered around recovery, and I walked away not feeling so great. Not getting a good vibe. Ange talked about she went to some retreat thing or whatever, and they were doing like Red Bull shots or whatever, and whatever. It was Red Bull shots, but the whole idea behind the mindset of it was like, it didn't feel good, you know. And she got a vibe from those folks that it wasn't just in good fun. Like now, me, I drink my Red Bulls on ice, but that's all. That's my little thing. It's not a trying to relive party life kind of thing.
No, as soon as you said Red Bull shots, I thought, what person who ever attended this doing these Red Bull shots, they're clearly not serious about their recovery, and or they're either already or going to relapse. I mean, that is the mindset for failure. That's the end of the day. That's the mindset that's set you up for failure. But there is nothing wrong with going out and getting a mocktail. I love mojitos. I love mint. I will go to bars and I will ask the waiters all of the time, like, hey, can you guys make non-alcoholic mojitos? Usually not always, but when I do get them, I love it because you know what? I get to feel fancy. And that was the whole point of getting a fancy fucking drink in the first place. Yes. Even with or without alcohol. It was just a kind of like a special treat.
Yes. Oh, I get my little straw too. Yes. This is great. But yes.
Not to do shots.
But so there's many like events or activities or stuff within the recovery world that I won't attend again because I did not get a good vibe from it. Yeah. That's my own personal thing. But people's the easy go-to, you know, like when I'm trying to support someone. Yes, I'm making that choice and that's different. But there's a certain group of, you're laughing, there's a certain group of people or friends that I've tried to, you know, it's like I know they mean well and I know they have good intentions, but I just don't have, I don't feel good walking away, hanging out with them. So I just don't put my time and effort into that anymore. But because it doesn't support what I'm trying to create. I'm a dream chaser. Okay? I want people that you either ride, you're coming along with me, or if you're holding me back, I'm just going to leave you back there.
I'm sorry, you're right. I was just kind of cracking up to myself over here because in my head I was playing this imaginary scene of all these sad people doing Jell-O shots with no alcohol in them.
Oh, what's the point?
How silly would that be?
Oh, I'm sure it happens. It's just my kids, that's sad. My kids used to have pretend, whatever, gummy bear.
It's a kid thing. When there's...
Yes. Oh, there you go. We should definitely I want to have an episode on just emotional sobriety or like maturity.
Yes.
Because so many folks, I was trying to talk some sense to my daughter about why it's not wise to smoke marijuana, especially at such a young age, because, I see people in the rooms, they're my age, but they're not mature emotionally my age at all.
They were stunted.
They were stunted and cut off, and I don't know if they'll ever be able to get, not that I better, but it's just like there's so many things that awareness and just the deepness of certain things they can't even they can't comprehend. It's not their fault, but those are the dummies that take the red bush. I'm just kidding. Like I could see me, you, a couple other aunts, a couple of our fuzzies in a certain environment where that might be something fun to do. But they were at an event where there's a shit ton of fucking newcomers. See, now I'm getting mad.
Yeah, that's
new people coming in. What the fuck are you doing? Like, and there's no scenario. If that's a place where you got new people literally being bussed in from treatment centers or carpooled in from...
That's stupid.
What are you doing? That's not fun in recovery. That's a trigger.
Yes.
That could initiate trauma. I mean, I appreciate my sponsees that will be like, no, I don't want to go there. That bowling alley or that place, I still am bothered by. I'm like, thank you for saying that. Yep, absolutely, 100%. Because I do forget. Because I'm okay now. But I was there. Any place, okay? So, yes, I love this. So, get in the habit. So, I would just say, to keep it simple, if you left a situation or sometimes you're doing your reflections for that day and you felt uneasy, uncomfortable, or awkward, have a conversation out loud with someone with it, okay? Because I couldn't have those conversations in my head. It would just go dark. But talk about it, okay? That's what creates those healthy cycles and patterns. That's what creates that opportunity to repair. So you're not coming back to it.
Full circle moment. If you're able to do this means you have a solid base for your dating.
Yes! And if any of these things, it's conversation, you're like, ooh, yeah, I still struggle with that. Ooh, yeah, I don't have that. Ooh, then, yep, let's just back up. Read the book. Let's go over it together. All right, everybody, you have a great weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to find make sure there's any last minute comments. Nope. And also, see, this is what happens midway through. Can't post comments to some destination. So sometime at some point it gets cut off. Oh. But I might be flipping, like I said, flipping stream places. Okay, everybody, have a good rest of your week. Again, let me know if you have any topics you want to talk about. I am down for that. All right, thank you, and going home.